Hi there, everybody. I'm Brandon Hauser, clinical hypnotherapist and psychic spiritual consultant. Some of you may know me as the Dream Teacher, which lends itself to what I try to do for all of my clients and interactions in this world, helping people to manifest their dreams into reality. All right, so I am here on this lovely Wednesday afternoon in Austin, Texas, coming to you live here. And I have been looking forward to this week's show. Let me just get my pop-out chat here so that way I can connect with you all. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. So, today, what I did last week for my first show is I did a tarot card, the Lenormand card, and I pulled some cards for each zodiac sign for the week that's coming up. So I really like doing that because I feel like a week's time span is a good way to really measure, what am I going to do? What are my goals? What am I going to experience? And I really like doing this because I think a lot of people respond well to their zodiac sign, their sun sign. And I like these... I like these future outlooks. So I'll be doing that first, and then with whatever time I have left, I'll be doing psychic readings here in the chat for those of you that do have questions, concerns, curiosity, general intrigue, general interest. So yeah, that space will be for you to go ahead and ask questions that you would like answered. If you can see on the bottom of the scroll there, on the bottom of the screen, you see the scrolling screen. And that's just to let you know to put in, if you do want a reading, put in your first name so I know what to call you. And also put in your month and your day of birth. You don't necessarily have to show the year. If you feel like you want to keep that private, that's quite all right. But also just know the more open you are, the more space of vulnerability that you create, the more that people are able to tap into you. So just consider it as a space of, okay, I'm allowing myself to open up so I can receive information, but I also understand this is public. This is a public space, and you might not want your information out there for everybody to see. So whatever you feel most comfortable with, you can go ahead and put that up there. Now, I just want to make sure that everything is working clearly here, as I have my first, my first stream was a little rough, lots of echoes, lots of different things going on, but finally, I think we've got some good equipment, good clarity in the screen and video, and hopefully you all can hear me just fine. So if you are listening in, if there are any problems, make sure that you put them up in the chat just so I know if you can't hear me or if anything else is kind of going on. All right, so I want to get right into it and go into the week ahead. What is in store for your week ahead? And you can figure that out by simply just going by your sun sign, your zodiac sign. So I'm going to start, of course, with Aries first. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use these little Lenormand cards. I really enjoy the symbolism of the Lenormand. Being a hypnotherapist, working with the subconscious and unconscious mind, I really feel that these little cards help to create some sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? Coincided, co-creative information. The subconscious mind really works a lot in symbols and symbolism. And I think when you are working in these psychic realms, a lot of people, especially the people that are clairvoyant, they see things a lot in terms of symbols, in terms of mental imagery, in terms of even archetypal symbolism. So working with that kind of same imagery, same vibration. It really personally resonates in working with like cards and things like that. I do have like a tarot deck, and I have this other deck that I inherited. But I think it was like called a Starseed deck or something like that, which people, might be interested in here on the YouTube live. But I personally like these because it's, well, one, I really like the pattern. Let me see if I can hold this up and show you here. I really like this pattern on the back. You can kind of see it. And all of these cards, I was actually, somebody bought these and gave them to me as a gift as well. But when you put them and you lay them all out, there's like little symbols on the sides here. Wait, let's see if you can see that. And they all kind of form together to create one cohesive shape. So I really think it's cool. I like the way that these were designed. They feel really nice. They're like cloth kind of texture. They're really nice. They're fun. I'm glad that I got these as a gift. Thank you, Marissa, if you're out there listening. These are still pretty cool. All right, so let's look at the week ahead here for each zodiac sign. So first, we're going to tap into Aries. Okay, so let's see what's coming in the week ahead for Aries. All right, my Aries people. Let's see what you have in store. All right, so we've got the woman, the sun, the bear, and the letter. All right, so the first card here is the woman. So obviously that represents literally a woman or somebody with feminine energy. Now next to the sun is pretty obvious, I feel like. It's all about being bright, positive, having a sort of powerful motor. And then we have the bear. Now, the bear definitely symbolizes strength, somebody who is quite steadfast or solid. Each card represents its own kind of energy, but the way in which these Lenormand cards work is that they work cohesively together. So one card can mean one thing, but next to another card, it could mean a whole other different energy or interpretation, something that's trying to communicate. The last card here is the letter. So looking at these cards here together, it looks like for Aries, what's coming up for Aries is that there is some kind of feminine energy or feminine influence that's coming into your life. So that could either be literally a female or a male with feminine energy coming into your life to give you some kind of strong or defined messages. It looks like it's going to be something that does relate to some kind of paperwork, something that you might need to fill out. So it looks like Aries, you're in for perhaps some new opportunities. Now, the sun here, is in this little spread. So keep in mind that these will be more positive outlooks, something that seems powerful or something that seems that information that you may have been waiting for has been centered on. So it's very likely centered on. You may very likely get some kind of letter of maybe you've been waiting for something from some source, maybe from work, maybe from some agency or company, something that has a collective. But it's giving you information that you can help to create some sense of personal definition for your own self. So perhaps, you're waiting for some opportunity from maybe a work from home thing, since everybody's at home right now, and you'll be getting that letter or that email within this week. I also feel like with this sort of feminine energy, female influence, it does look like there may be some very strong females as well around you or in your presence in some way. A feminine energy that, even though they may seem strong or strict, really has a positive impact on you. So perhaps look to your females that have this strong sense of personal influence in your life, that maybe they have some kind of message for you. Just engaging in an interaction with them may even bring that out. If you yourself, are female and you do feel like that quite defined, strong person, a person that other people can rely on, other people can connect with, perhaps you are the one to be giving out information or messages to other people as well. I believe it's all about that positive, strong, feminine energy that has something to disseminate, something to give out, a message to other people, perhaps. All right, so Aries, be on the lookout for that. Connect with those important people in your life and hold out for news that you may have been waiting for a while. All right, Aries. Thank you. We're going to go on to our Taurus people here. Let's do Taurus next. What do we have in store for Taurus? Let's take a look, shall we? Our practical bulls, our steadfast bulls here, who may very well be enjoying this comfortability of staying at home. Perhaps Taurus has been trying to get some work done and cleaning around the house, but just feels so comfortable lying around. Let's see what's in store for Taurus this week. All right, so we've got the clover first. All right, so for Tauruses out there, if we have any Tauruses listening, this is the time. So the first card here that we've got the clover. So the clover is all about expansion, growing, things that are able to continue opening up in some way. I really relate this clover card to the energy of Jupiter, which Jupiter is all about expansion, gaining knowledge, furthering some kind of development. Then we have the stork. So the stork is all about movement, okay? The birds are definitely about communication, but more specifically, talking, chatter, back and forth, rapport and interaction in communication. Then we have the house, which seems pretty self-explanatory. And then the snake, which the snake is all about a very secluded or repressed energy. So looking at this spread here, it looks like there seems to be some kind of growth for Taurus happening. A certain sense of self or a certain aspect of self being able to be expanded through communication. So I feel that Taurus this week, you're definitely going to have to be communicating about some of your goals, some of the movement that you've had in your life, things that do. It's almost like the more you talk, the more that you can facilitate extra movement happening. But it's suggesting here to be able to have a comfortable space to communicate and to be certain of the substance, the definition, all the important foundational aspects of whatever you're working on to communicate to other people. But they're also showing here with the snake is to be careful not to give up too much information. So there is a finesse, right, of communicating with other people about your ideas or about your movement in your life, but not divulging all of the information, I think, is something that can be very helpful, one, to anybody, but it seems particularly important to Taurus because Taurus, they are the ones, that really can carry the heavy load, the heavy burdens. They can be tenacious and diligent in their steps moving forward, but sometimes Taurus lacks the full initiative, the full energy, and even sometimes the creative aspect to push a goal, idea, project, business idea, work venture, even relationship to move forward, and they may rely on the interactions of other people to be able to create that stable movement. But here's the warning, I feel, is that with the snake next to the house, it's showing me that divulging all of your information could end up being a little bit detrimental to your progress and your forward movement. Other people may not carry the exact same ideas and may loosely translate what you're trying to communicate and then take it on their own and run. So I feel that it's really important for Taurus. Yes, this is about your own personal growth through communication and communicating with others, but be very specific not to give away all of those important details. Again, this could relate to something, whether it's business or work related, or even in a relationship, perhaps divulging, maybe not divulging how you feel, expressing your emotions, but maybe not giving way to all of these subtleties that are within yourself about maybe why you've arrived to this decision, idea, conclusion, or emotion, and not letting someone fully in all the way until they show you that they are going to be in some sense trustworthy. You don't want to ruin the foundation of yourself and letting somebody else in that may not hold that same value for the foundation that you have. So, of course, two words that are very important to Taurus: value and foundation. Those are definitely some of the biggest ones here. So Taurus, yes, get talking, get connecting with other people, but be very specific and clear with the information that you give out to others this week. Keep it conversational, and try not to get too deep just yet, not until you can trust that other person that you're communicating with. If you do have trust for that person, I think letting him in on that foundational aspect of whatever is going on, it looks like it will be something that you still are unsure how the other person is going to handle or receive it. So again, just timing really is everything, and kind of wait for that right timing to be able to move forward. But it does look like for Taurus that growth is to happen at this time. I got to put on a little bit of chapstick, guys. I'm sorry. My lips are a little dry, and if I'm going to be talking for a while, I want to make sure that they stay hydrated here. All right, so let's move on to our Gemini, shall we? Let's see what is in term this week for our twin signs here. Let's take a look. All right, my Geminis. Let's see what you have going on. Gemini for this next week. What's the energy of Gemini for this next week? All right, Gemini. So the first card that we got is the ring. So the ring represents a lot of our bonds, the solidity of our bonds, the connections, relationships that we have, not only with ourselves, but with other people, which is next to the cross. So the cross, it seems a little bit self-explanatory, but it is a more spiritually oriented and spiritually based energy. Sometimes it represents challenges, sometimes it represents enlightenment, or in this case, what it's looking like is breakthroughs. It's next to the stars. The stars is a very high energy card. It's all about our lofty ideas, our imagination, the realm of fantasy, the idea of goals. And then we've got the tower. The tower does symbolize a little bit of a more challenging energy of things breaking down or becoming difficult, kind of losing out on things, or it could be just that slow breakdown process. So what it's looking like is happening here. For Geminis, it looks like deep relationships are going to be on the forefront of the mind and experience over this next week. What are the deep relationships that you carry in your life? How solid are those bonds? And it very well seems like there is some higher energetic influence coming in to quite literally influence the bonds that you do have, either by way of influencing yourself or by in some way influencing the relationship as a whole or a partnership. So if you do have a personal relationship, and that one that you are in, that is either intimate in nature, or something that is specifically bonded, this could be people that you may live with, or somebody that you have a solid working relationship with, or even somebody with family. Perhaps family lives with you, or you're having issue with family. It looks like there is going to be, the whole point is that there is some kind of relationship, or even relationships in general, are going to be pushed into this questioning phase of how deep is this connection? How beautiful, how important, how valuable, how is it serving me? What is it going to do for me? because it looks like you're going to be breaking down the components of this relationship to really get into the nitty gritty, get into those details, analyze and break down how it's serving your life. What is it bringing to you? What is it bringing to the person? What is it bringing to the world? This is really the week to explore the value of relationships. To me, this makes sense because we're nearing the end of Aries season, and there's been a lot of action, initiation, forward movement as far as our own energy is concerned and where we're investing into it, especially along the creative realms. If you do work in some kind of creative sphere, creative work, you definitely have been influenced over this Aries season to either go out on your own or to go after important networking connections or people that you need to be around. So for Gemini, it's all about relationships and focusing on how important they are in your life. What value are these specific relationships offering you? Is it something that you feel is elevating you, bringing you your own self some kind of higher energy? Is it allowing you to step further towards your goals? Right now, over this next week, breaking down these components, really getting into all of the nitty gritty stuff, I think is going to be really important for Gemini, because it seems like an evaluation. It's always important, I think, for Gemini to evaluate, okay, who exactly is here around me? Who has my best interest? Who really, can hold a light to my own flame? Who can help light this candle that I feel is inspiring? Who can match my intellectual or conversational rapport? I think that's always important for Gemini to evaluate, because they are often looking at things so objectively. They're looking at both sides of the coin instinctively or naturally, and so they might think that somebody has been along with them this whole time, but all of a sudden as Gemini changes their perspective, they can see that this person was always one-sided the whole time. So I feel that it's always important for Gemini to be in that state of just assessing who is in my life, what connection is it serving, and how is it going to help me in my life or keep aligning me with my goals. Are they adding to my life or taking away and draining in some way? So definitely a good time for Gemini to evaluate and see what is going on in their life here. All right. So let's move on. We're going to go to Cancer next. Hey there, Christina. Thank you. Welcome in. I'm going to be finishing up the Zodiac, pulling some cards for each Zodiac sign, and then I will get to your questions. So hang tight. We are on Cancer right now. So let's move and see what is going on with Cancer for this next week. What is going on for my Cancerian people in this next week? Cancer energy. There's the Cancerian. Okay. Cancers in this next week. Clearly I need to do a reshuffle. All right, of course we got the moon. All right. So for our Cancers out there, where are our Cancers at here? So the first card we got is the moon, which of course to me it just seems absolutely appropriate, with Cancer being the ruler of the moon in the zodiac. Then we have the rider, okay, which always signifies some kind of someone or something coming in as a form of a message or initiation. Then we have the sun, which again is self-explanatory, a good motor, positive energy. We have the cross again, which does represent some kind of spiritual energy or influence, but mostly it is a point of challenge to meet. And then we have the book. So the book here in this card, it's simple. It's more simply put that because the book is closed, it means that there's still information to figure out. So there is a bit of an unknownness to it. So looking at the spread here, what's coming up for Cancers? Well, it looks like there are going to be some really interesting emotions coming up for you in this week. Since the moon is all about the realm of emotions and internal or introspective thought, it looks like you're going to have quite some intense thoughts riding in. I really like that the sun and the moon are together surrounding this rider here, because it looks like there's going to be an equal balance of internal view and emotional understanding and action. So it looks like the internal emotions or emotional expression is going to influence some action to take part in your life. It does look like it is going to be based on spiritual or higher energy principles, and it could very well lead to some plain and simple, some challenges for yourself. It looks like these challenges will be more centered around personal direction. So the cross does kind of bring us to our more existential path, right? You know, where are we going? What are we doing? Asking yourself those deeper questions. And because it's next to the book, it looks like it's not fully known yet. It looks like your path may not fully be known yet. You may not even know the results of all of these emotions and these actions that you're going to take or that are coming up. And you may feel unsure, clouded, not exactly certain of where things should go or how they should go. I don't feel that you need to figure that out right now. I think what's important is that you're having a direct experience from an internal emotion to physical action in reality. So these actions that are fueled by emotions do have a sort of a spiritual undertone to them in some way. It's like there is some kind of soul movement happening where you're creating a physical reaction or physical action or response to an internal impulse or internal feeling. Anytime I think that happens, you know, we really are employing one of the biggest parts of being human, which is creation, taking some kind of action, doing something, anything. And even though you may not know, you may not be shown all the answers or all the ideas or even the full path of where you're supposed to be going or how you're supposed to be acting, I don't feel that that's the importance right now. I think the importance is just finding that direct connection between the emotion and the personal self. And when you take actions from this place, you do generate very specific movement for your life. It does feel like this is a good week for movement for Cancer, where oftentimes I feel that the sign Cancer is quite content at achieving tasks and things centered around home or a home base or home network of some kind, whether that's your own home or work. A lot of Cancers, like to make their work feel like home in some sense, or could even quite literally bring their work home. And again, right now, just because of the time that we're in, a lot of people are probably working from home anyways. But what's important, I think, this week is that you don't need to know the full path. You don't need to know the full answers yet. What's important is that you do take those actions that are based on emotional intelligence, emotional understanding. When you take action from this place, yes, even though emotions and feelings are, they're very fluid. They're not always being felt in the same way, and they do change quite often. Amazing action, soul-inspired action, can be garnered from, quite simply, acting through emotional response or emotional intelligence. Now, there is a difference between acting and reacting. If anybody knows that difference, then they know that reactions definitely can be a little bit more difficult and maybe uncontrollable, right? If we have emotional impulses that we can't really control, it could be a little bit of a sticky situation. So always act from a conscious place, an aware place. But right now for Cancer, let those actions be inspired by emotion and internal thought or internal feeling or reflection. Inspired by action and reacting, definitely different, Cancer. So be sure to garner that sense of inspiration instead. All right, thank you, Cancers. So now we are going to move on to our Leos. Let's see where the week ahead, April 15th to the 22nd, which I believe is Earth Day, which will be, I think, my next show. let's see what's ahead for our Leos in this next week up until, like I said, Earth Day. All right, my Leos. Where are my Leos? What's going on for Leos this week? All right. So we've got 4 cards here. We've got the Anchor, which is all about creating some sense of solidity, things that are grounded. Make sure. Okay, reconnection successful. Let me make sure it's cleared up on YouTube. YouTube says excellent connection. Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry. Pile of mud or some kind of hole, and it needs that push to get out. The cross is like that push. Sometimes, it requires some force, and ultimately it may be a little bit difficult or challenging, but it is getting you unstuck, right? It is creating important movement for your life. Then we have this cross next to the rider, and then the rider next to the key. So what it looks like is happening here for Leo is that there are some important movements happening in your life as far as dedicated initiations that you're going to be taking for your own self, your own life. It does look like it's going to be in relation to some sense of security in your life and for yourself. So it could be perhaps some kind of job security, right? Or even at your home, or even a personal connection. It looks like your life is trying to become unstuck, to be given some sense of inspired movement as well. I do say inspired just because of the cross here. It does have that higher energy, but also the key. The key really is quite obviously about unlocking things, but oftentimes it represents our minds unlocking or our intuition, right? Things that kind of just get fed into our brain, whether through meditation, whether through psychic vision, clairvoyance, or even dreaming within our dream realm. So definitely for Leos this week, pay attention to dreams. See what's kind of coming out in your own subconscious mind, because it looks like there's some really important shifts to happen as far as how secure you feel in your own self. Now, again, it could be related to perhaps a job, like job security, or figuring out some kind of stronger foundation for that job, or perhaps something around home, a personal relationship, whatever area you have felt like you've been trying to get movement forward or have been pushed in some way to create movement. This is going to be the area that is affected in your life. It does feel like you could even quite literally have a personal revelation, a moment of enlightenment during this next week, where you just receive some really important information about how to initiate movement forward. This week is going to be all about generating security. So I feel like for Leo, if there's anything that you can do to create positive movement forward while also being comfortable. Comfort seems to be important as far as personal security, because when you're uncomfortable, it's quite often you feel insecure or unsure, confused. But when you're comfortable, you do seem to have a more solid, stable backbone, right? That's just natural human tendency. But for Leo especially, and especially for our more sensitive Leos out there, it will be important for you to be able to stand up and stand firm in your own sense of personal definition, to have that solid backbone, because in the face of enlightened moments or, deeper moments of insight, it can kind of shake you up and then cause the people around you to be totally confused as to what you're going through. And they may not be as attuned or sensitive as you are to kind of figure out, okay, this person is going through a lot, but I didn't even see it, so, I'm just going to treat them however they need to. So I think it also works for you to be more comfortable this next week so that the people around you can respond accordingly to your own energy. Sometimes when we get those important insights, we just need somebody to be there to hug us, tell us everything's going to be okay, to have that sense of support. The Leos, they love to purr, right? They love to have their certain little side stroked or their head stroked or something. And so to have that right nurturing energy around you could be very beneficial for this week, so that way you do feel secure enough in yourself to handle or embrace these intuitive insights or enlightenment, and to be able to create the right movement forward for yourself. So Leo, this is all about being secure and really getting some intuitive insights about whatever is happening that has been either stagnant or waiting to be moved in your life at this time. So be open to receive that energy and allow it to come through, but also just be comfortable. Do whatever you need to. Put on that big robe. Put those jewels on, make a fire if you have a fireplace or fire pit or something, and just sit around the fire staring at it for a good few hours. Anything that really makes you feel nice and comfortable, nice and secure, go ahead and just jump right into that so you have good movement forward. All right, next is going to be our Virgos. Let's see what's happening for our Virgos in this week ahead. All right, my Virgos, what is going on? All right, Virgo. So a little bit, some difficult cards here. So let's just jump right into it. So we've got the Tower. Tower does symbolize or represent some things kind of breaking down, disintegrating, which is definitely a very Virgo kind of energy or characteristic. Then we have the Path. So the Path is just kind of a general card of where our path is or what's moving forward. In traditional Lenormand, I believe that card is like the crossroads. But this one is the Path. It's all the same kind of energy. So it does always represent, in some forms, a decision to be made. Then we have the Mice. So the Mice is about eating away at a specific energy, taking things away. And then we have the Stork here. So the Stork, again, is all about movement and creating movement forward. So it looks like for Virgo, this could be a little bit of a challenge. It looks like there are parts of your path, perhaps you've been laying things out for your own self, and it looks like this is going to be breaking down a little bit. You might be losing out on some kind of opportunity, but what I really like about this is that it seems like this has been a long time coming. Because of this Mice card, it seems that this, whatever's being broken down in your life at this time, is something that it's like it's been waiting to receive that finality. This thing that's breaking down now has been eating away at you for a while. It's likely felt like an incessant problem, a difficult situation that's been draining or taxing on your energy, or a relationship that's been taking away from your own sense of, harmony, peace, happiness, etc. And that you're finally going to get some movement forward from all of this. So even though this may be a little bit difficult to deal with, anytime that we go through a breakdown of some aspect of our life, it's not always the most comfortable thing. It's not always easy, but it does feel like in this specific scenario, especially in this week, that the thing that is breaking down, it's happening because it's been taking your energy away for quite a while. And Virgo, you don't need that. You definitely don't need somebody else taking away your energy. You don't need somebody who is constantly draining you, because you've got enough stimulated things happening in your mind already. Not to mention all the things that happen under your own unconscious on your own energy all the time. You don't need all of that extra draining coming from an outside source. So this is the time to really get into that that deeper catalyst-like process of breaking things down, almost like I think it's an enzyme, right? An enzyme is something that breaks down all these little proteins and moves them around. It's like you're going to be working in that way, really decompress all of these things that are pulling your energy and allow them to either have some kind of transition or quite literally take a different path. Take a different path and allow yourself to move forward and move on. It could be away from these draining forces, or you could go through an important transition in light of maybe it's a person, who has an influence on that drain. You could go together in a different path. But I honestly feel like for Virgo, you're just going to be flying away. You're going to be flying away and being kind of done, washing your hands of everything and just tapping out. Okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. I don't need to be here anymore. I don't need to feel this pressure. I don't need it. Be sure, again, Virgo, not to make any hasty or rash jumps or conclusions here. Just the point feels like you need a new path. You need something that's not going to be draining your energy, whether you can do it with that other person or party involved, or if it just means you've got to go it alone. Sometimes that is the case. I think for a lot of Virgos, they can have a sense of comfortability and go on their path alone. You know, they're just good at being able to know what serves them, and to really look into the deeper parts of, you know, what something is serving for their own life. When they can look at those little components like that with a natural ability to break things down, it just kind of comes easy for them. But I think Virgos can sometimes be very cold as well in that approach. So I wouldn't fully turn off the emotions. Always keep a sense of emotional awareness happening about yourself and others. But ultimately, yes, you got to do what's right for you and what's going to serve you best. So Virgos, get rid of that draining energy. It's definitely time over this next week. All right, who is next? Let's see. We're going to go from our Virgos to our Libras, our Libra friends. Let's see what's happening for the week for our Libras. Where's our Libra? There's the Libra. What is happening for our Libras this week? Interesting. All right, so lots of breaking down happening this week for everyone, it seems like. Okay, so the first card is the mice again. We've got the mice, which again, you know, represents us sort of eating away at. And this is where you get to really see how these cards work. They tell the story when they work together, when there's one card next to another card. So you'll see the difference in what's happening here. So now we have the moon next. Then we have the tower. And then we have the whip. All right, so it looks like what's happening for Libra here is that there are some internal emotions that are eating away or gnawing away at the Libra and Libran energy. It looks like these emotions have probably been something that have either been buried within the back of your mind or something that you may have even actively suppressed and didn't really want to deal with. Panic attack, this could be, you know, crying, this could be a certain sense of trauma, and it does look like the whip here, the whip represents quarrels, arguments, strife, conflict, and it looks like these emotions that are coming out are going to create a sense of conflict for you. So for Libra, because it looks like there is going to be quite an emotional week ahead, I feel it's really important to take this time for personal introspection. Take some time for yourself. Really dig into, okay, what is going on? What am I feeling? What do I want to feel? You know, what are my goals as far as my emotions? What are my goals for my emotions? How does that concern me? I think there's a tendency for Libra. They do get a bad rap, I think, just because they can be quite social and seem so emotionally unattached. But I do know Libras to be sensitive. I do know them to really understand the Venusian energy of harmony and being connected with other people. Yes, a lot of times I do see Libra, you know, they just want to have fun. But I think it's important at this time for Libra to consider what is going on in my emotional self. You know, where do I feel a sense of harmony or disharmony? What needs balance? And I feel that this is a time for Libra to ask, what do I really need? And what do I want to experience in the emotional part of myself? What are my emotions? You know, what do I have to dig into right now? Otherwise, I feel that Libra is going to be forced to do it. And I know that anytime that we're all forced to do something, it can be quite uncomfortable, especially in the realm of emotions. If we have pushed things away and buried that we didn't want to see or experience, yeah, that could be a little bit tough to deal with. That could be it could be a little bit too much pressure. And I know for Libra energy, they don't want to sit in that pressure too long. They want to be able to be free, to be relaxed, to have that fun that they want to engage in and to move forward. But I think for Libra, if you're aware of it, if you're aware of this energy kind of coming up, you can shape it and work with it to your advantage, to stay ahead of it and dive into your own sense of introspection. So that way you're not totally caught off guard and thrown into a total storm of anything. So just be aware of that, Libra. And don't be afraid to dig into those emotions. A lot of us out here are already doing it, right? Especially our water signs, our Cancer, Scorpios, Pisces, but especially our more sensitive people, our Leos, our Tauruses. We've all got some emotional aspect to ourselves. Some are just more emotionally attuned than others. And Libra does not happen to always be that one, especially Libra men. I feel that more Libra men, or the more masculine the energy in Libra, the more detached it seems, or more diplomatic their approach. I do know Libra women and men to be one and the same. It depends on each person, but as a sort of generalization, I feel that that's something that I have been able to observe. All right. So Libras, dig into those emotions, or they will dig into you. All right, so let's see what's happening for our Scorpios. What's going on for our Scorpios in this next week? If you are joining me here and you are looking for a reading, I will be coming into the chat here. Oh, I see everybody in here. Hi, Weasel. Hey, Spiritual Readings. Oh, hey, Catherine. Hey, Angie. Thank you all for coming back. Hi, Selena. So I'll be getting to your questions here in just a moment. I'm going to finish doing the little card readings for each zodiac sign coming up in the next week. Once I get through Pisces, then I will be taking your questions here in the chat. So thank you all for joining me, staying patient here, and we will get to you in just a moment. Okay, so our Scorpios. What's happening for our Scorpios in this next week? Tap into that intense, introspective, penetrating Scorpio energy. Let's see where we are. Okay, Scorpio, what's coming up for you? All right, Scorpio. Looking like some good cards here. So the first card here we have is the Garden. The Garden definitely represents a social energy, but one that is public, one where you are sort of seen in the eyes of other people, one where you have a very clear presence in what you're in the image that you kind of put out to people. So it's like a public image, but social aspect, social connection, gatherings, etc. Next to the Birds, which again is about communication, specifically talking, communication, verbal communication. The Dog, which does represent friendships, loyalties, connections of a loyal or friends-like manner. And then the Anchor, which of course represents more solid and defined energy. So it's looking like for Scorpio, this is going to be quite a light week for Scorpio. Where they're going to be able to have social interaction, engage with others on a just social or surface level. Scorpio does not have to always be so deep all the time. Sometimes it's okay to just rest on that surface level and enjoy those little, they could be simple or meaningless chats, but sometimes, they can serve a greater purpose of creating a space of, again, loyalty, of friendships, catching up, interacting. I really feel like this is a good time to catch up with old friends, to catch up with people that, maybe I haven't seen them in a long time, but, we had an anchored or rooted past in some way, and now is the time to be able to reestablish that bond, check in on the friends. Really, that I feel is a big one. I feel like with Scorpio has been going through this whole pandemic probably with a sense of sarcastic laughter, right? Where they're like, oh yeah, here it is, you know, the plague is upon us, I'm not surprised, you know. And Scorpio maybe not being as afraid as maybe some of the other people. And again, this is just a generalization, but I do imagine that that could absolutely come through a more scorpionic energy. And perhaps this is the time to check in on all those other friends who may be really worried. You know, check in on your Virgos, check in on your Aquariuses, check in on your Leos, all the people that you feel like, okay, they might be feeling things a little bit too intensely. Let's see what's going on with them. Let's see if I can help them. Let me just bridge a gap and create that social space. The big thing about Scorpio is that Scorpios really work on those terms of energetic influence, right? They can sense things, they can perceive things that are just beyond the skin, just beyond the surface. And so even quite simply for a Scorpio to hold space for someone can really create a dramatic shift for other people. I know I have some pretty strong Scorpio energy and placements in my own chart, and that's something that I quite literally do, is create shifts for other people and their energy. So I think for Scorpio, it's going to be quite a much more simple week for you. There will be communication. There will be, you know, some back and forth, at least talking. This is a good time to talk with people. But more specifically, I feel like it's important to talk with friends. Talk with people that are your solid, loyal family, right? People that you feel grounded or connected with. People that you feel anchored to. This also could be something as far as going into a meditative state and talking with ancestors that are connected to your lineage. If you do any kind of astral travel or meditation or regression in your meditation, this could be a good time to really talk to your lineage, the spirits, souls, and entities that are not incarnated anymore but are still connected to you through the astral, spiritual, or psychic realms. You can absolutely kind of rely on them for some moment of peace, clarity, or understanding, or, you know, maybe even just gossip, right? Oh my gosh, did you see what was going on with them? Did you see that? Oh yeah, I remember when they did that in this lifetime. You know, it could be anything, but try and keep it light, try and keep it fun, and I think it's going to help you show, you know, where the loyalties are with the people that you hold in your life. You know, do they really hold you as being connected, or are they just, you know, blowing smoke? So this is a good time for you, Scorpio, to be that solid force in other people's lives. Be able to extend yourself out there. Check in on those friends, you know, that may need it, and create that space for people. All right, Scorpios, thank you. Let's move on to our Sagittariuses. Let's see what's happening for our Sag people. Sagittarius. Okay. Sag for the next week. And where's our symbol? There's our symbol. Okay. All right, Sagittarius. So, first card here that we've got is the moon. So again, the moon does represent internal emotions. Sometimes it can represent opportunities or things that kind of create new space, but it always depends on the cards that it's next to, and it's next to the ring. So the ring does represent bonds, relationships. So it does look like some kind of emotional bond. And next to the child does represent things that are new or developing, right? So it is looking like there is some kind of emotional connection, emotional bond that may be new. But then we have the coffin. So yeah, everybody that sees the coffin are like, oh my gosh, that's a little too scary. You know, it's not about death. It's not always about death, but death in and of itself is a transition. So it does look like that some kind of new emotional bond that has been established, something that, you know, may just be starting to grow, something that's just starting to flourish, does need to go through a sense of transformation. For some of you, it quite literally could be a death or disconnection. I know with Sagittarius energy, there's a fine line for personal investments, right? You know, they're only going to invest as much as they're going to be able to learn or gain something from it. You don't see too many Sagittariuses, you know, really investing in something that they can't see it going anywhere. They don't see it having some kind of purpose, or something, you know, that they can really engage within or create experiences with. If it's not serving them and if it's just something that creates stagnation, they're not going to stay with it. But if in the event they don't want to create that full disconnection, it really quite simply is just saying that there is a transformation to be had. So look to those relationships that have been in your life. Look at the ones that may just be starting up, the ones that are new, or the ones that may not have yet had the full nurturing, like a child needs nurturing to be able to grow. Look for the ones that haven't received that full nurturing. Have you not been watering your emotional connections? Have you not been giving them the fuel that they need or the nurturing that they need? And look to see if it does need that sense of transformation, or does it need that death and the disconnection completely. The good thing is that it is up to you to decide, but it's how you decide to receive and interpret this energy in your own life that's coming up for you. I also feel like this could be an internal bond with the self as well. I feel like it could be important for Sagittarius to really get in touch deep with their own personal emotions. Get in touch with that inner child and see if there's something in there that's been wanting to come out, or a certain part of yourself that may feel like it needs a transformation. I know a lot of times in spiritual fields and spiritual arenas, people talk about the inner child and it being something that's important to stay connected with. And I feel like that is true to a certain degree. Yes, we are all still those children that we once were, many years ago. We're still that child somewhere, even though the body looks different, even though there's more wisdom or experience, that child, is still within the soul somewhere. And having forgotten it, sometimes we can forget aspects of ourselves. So I think for Sagittarius, this could be a good time to really revisit some good childhood memories and emotions as well, because there could be some nuggets of information that can be applied to your life at this time. So consider nurturing these relationships that you may have. There could be one in your life that is new as far as emotional bond that's been created that does need a transformation, or take some time to look into yourself and to really tap into that inner child and see if you can gain information that applies to your own life just by doing that. So really, it's a good time for Sagittarius to explore. Exploration could be really good for you this week, and not to mention it is a good characteristic and trait for Sagittarius to do in the first place. What is in store for our Capricorns in this next week? Our Capricorns everywhere. We've got Pluto in Capricorn right now, which could be quite intense for some of you if you have, well, at some point you will have Pluto transiting over your sun if you are Capricorn. And that could be quite an interesting energy. Pluto, the planet of transcending and transformation, next to the sun, our motor. It could quite literally be Capricorns are going through a complete transformation of their own motors, their own energy, what's happening in their lives. The way in which life has served them could be being defined quite differently at this time. All right, so let's look at what's coming up for Capricorn in this next week. Where's my Capricorn symbol? There it is. All right, Capricorns. So some interesting energy here. We got the Coffin as the first card, which again isn't always about death. It is just about some kind of transition. Then we have the Path, which again is about your own personal path, your movements forwards, the steps in which to get to your goals. Then we have the Snake, which is about a sense of repression or holding back, and the Child, which is about new energy, sometimes literally about the child. But what it's looking like here is that Capricorn, just as I was mentioning before, with that Pluto transiting in Capricorn right now, and likely going over all of Capricorn's sun at some point during the next how many years does Pluto stay in a sign? Isn't it like 10 to 14 years, something like that? So at some point, anybody who's Capricorn is going through this Pluto conjunct Sun transit. So with Capricorn for the next week, it does look like there is a sense of either stagnation or personal transformation happening. So the coffin next to the path, right? It could quite mean that your goals, your path, your movement forward has been stagnant or is going to be stagnant because of a certain sense of repression. Now, either things outside of your control have been held back, but that's usually not the case for Capricorn, because usually Capricorn has things pretty much in their own control at all times. And so I do feel like this is more of an aspect of Capricorn that's happening that is creating a feeling of suppression or repression, something being held back because of a personal attitude. And it does look like next to the child here that it may be a sense of personal immaturity. There could be something that you have been trying to overcome, trying to get past this stuck movement, stagnation, waiting for a change. And quite literally, it could be, again, just because of the state of the world that is happening right now, feeling stuck, not being able to move forward, especially for a Capricorn. If they're not working right now, that could be an absolute sense of frustration for them, of needing to do something, needing to get moving, needing to, really get their gears turning and shifting. I feel that what's coming up for a Capricorn this week is that stagnation is able to be looked into at this time. You're really able to look into a lot of the deeper motivating factors into your own self. What's happening within me? Where do I need to grow? Where do I need to grow personally? Where do I need to grow and invest my energy emotionally? But more specifically, where do I need to put my actions? How are my actions going to be best interpreted in this world? How am I going to be able to get myself out there in the right way that's going to create the opposite of stagnation, right? Which is forward movement or progress. This is definitely the time to check in on your progress, Capricorn. Look at, how your actions have been measuring up to what you've done in the past. Are they serving you in the right way? Are they, what are you needing to do here? I also feel like Capricorn, because they are likely either right in the midst of a personal transformation or about to go through one or recently have gone through one, I also feel that parts of the self that have been sort of confused in a unsure state. It feels like maybe for Capricorn, some of your own answers have been held back in some way, like you haven't been able to fully figure out things, even if they weren't in your control. You've tried to dive into them, but you just couldn't get to a conclusion, reason, purpose, or answer. I feel like you're going to be able to start diving into those things now, seeing the deeper interconnectedness of stagnation to action, the reasons why, the solutions why, but also taking a deeper context and deeper meaning out of them. And that really is, I like that sense of the child here that does come in, because the children, even though they don't always need to know why, they do need to have some clear boundaries and to follow those boundaries. But even still, when they are respected, they still are in that state of exploration where everything is still new to them. So they have that sort of innocence of just wanting to learn something new, wanting to gain other information. So really the best thing for Capricorn this week is to take on that child, take on the energy of your own inner child. Really allow yourself to explore in a more innocent, vulnerable, blissful way. It's okay to be a little bit naive, I think, at times, because it allows you to experience something to its fullest. Now, don't be fully ignorant, right? I think there's a difference between naivete and ignorance. Ignorance seems to really generate, plain unawareness. But naivete really allows you to experience something in a more humiliating, or I should say, more humble way. And I think humiliating has a more negative context, but I don't always see it in that way. So I think it really can allow you to see things in a more humble way if you take on the inner child aspect. Sometimes it's fun to just have fun, right? And see things the way they are. And especially if you're in a moment where you're just stuck and you really need to get energy moving, then sometimes bringing out that inner child, can really generate a sense of movement for yourself, but while also having personal enjoyment. So Capricorn, maybe it's time to just lighten up a little bit, and to not worry about where the next step is going. because it seems like you're going to be given those answers anyway. And again, because you have Pluto over in Capricorn right now, again, a lot of you are going through this transit. Pluto, yeah, it can be scary. Pluto can really mess a lot of things up, but it is deeply, deeply intuitive and informative. And if you can tap into that chrysalis of an energy, you can gain a lot of really valuable and cool information for yourself. Trust me, I have Pluto directly on my midheaven line. I know that energy very well, and it comes to me in the form of my work and interactions with others, and what I give out there, and I know that it has a lot to offer. All right, so let's get to our Aquarius energy here. What's going on with our Aquarius people? What do we have in store for you in this next week, our Aquariuses? There's our symbol. Okay, and what's coming up for this next week? Okay, Aquarius. All right, Aquarius. So lots of movement happening here. So we've got the letter, which is all about communication, more of a formal communication. We've got the path, again, which is about your path, your goals moving forward. And we have the rider, which again is about initiating, bringing through information, and the bouquet. The bouquet is really an energy that symbolizes harmony or harmonic moments or vibrations, things that are coming to a sense of fruition, a sort of bounty or harvest kind of vibe. So what's looking like is happening here is that Aquarius is going to be getting communication about something that finally clicks, something that they've been waiting for, something that creates a sense of harmony, stability, inner peace. It could even be beautiful things like love or money coming in, things that just really make you feel good, things that generate a sense of harmony for you in your life. Perhaps it's waiting for a loved one to call or to see them, or perhaps you're waiting for money from somewhere, or you just started a new venture or a business product and you finally get the product. This is all about good news coming in and finally seeing rewards, seeing the rewards of your own work. I feel like it could be in both forms of, receiving formal communication like a letter, email, and subsequently, I feel like it can also be something that gets delivered in person, just because of the cards that are next to it. So this could be the week for Aquarius to really, look out for the mail. Of course, clean, and sanitize your mail however you do, in the face of the world events happening right now. But definitely hurry to go get it, because it could be really exciting. There could be some really cool stuff in there for you. It does look like there will be rewards. There will be presents or even gifts given from somebody to you, to Aquarius this week. Perhaps somebody could even literally give you flowers or a bouquet. It could be a present, but it really feels like rewards, and it comes from outside of self into self. So it seems it's either being delivered to you in some way, or given to you. Let's turn this brightness down here. I want to make sure I don't run out of battery. So we might have to play around a little bit as we as we go and step into our readings here. All right, so Aquarius, look out for those gifts. This is really just a time to receive. I don't feel like you need to be doing anything in particular. Keep your communications, in good spirits, I think, because it's going to ultimately keep your energy in a good space, which will allow, more rewards, more gifts to be able to come in and enter your own sphere. So really not much for Aquarius, except looking out for those gifts and those rewards that are finally coming your way. I do feel like Aquarius has put in some important work in the past, in the recent past, because I can feel a lot of Aquariuses, and even the ones I've talked to, have had a certain sense of being drained, or perhaps having listlessness, not being sure what to do. But now it's like they're getting some kind of sign, symbol, or message of like, oh, okay, hey, here's my reward. Here's what I get. Here's what I get to do now. So I think Aquarius, you're just in for a simple, pleasant Pisces, and see what's going on. What is coming up for our Pisces in this next week? Our deep Piscean blended energy. What is coming up for you? Pisces. There we are. Hold up. There we go. All right, our Pisces people. So we've got the stork, again, which allows some kind of movement. Usually that's movement as far as traveling, or allowing things to move forward. Then we have the house, which represents, again, our home. Seems self-explanatory, but more specifically our foundations. We have our birds, which represents communication, mostly verbal communication, chatting and connection. And then the woman, which is self-explanatory. So it does look like for Pisces this week, there is going to be some kind of movement around the home. It could quite literally be traveling. It could be traveling to another location or another area. And quite literally, being next to the birds here and communicating about it, it makes me feel like there's either talking amongst yourself and people, especially a woman or feminine energies, about moving, or about being able to go somewhere. Where can I relocate for the moment? Where can I travel for the moment, or even vacation to? And I feel like Pisces is going to be talking about a certain escape. How do I escape from home? How do I get out of home? How do I go somewhere else? And I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing is just, I need to get out of here. I need a change of scenery. I need something different. I think a lot of water signs, can feel quite comfortable at home, because they can really create their space as their own. They can really, maneuver and move things around. But I feel like for Pisces especially, there is this pressure, this building sense of anxious feelings or nervousness, and they might need to just get out. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get to do something different. So it could be a good time to really talk about this with other people and to create a sort of important and of course legal plan, nothing that's going to get you in trouble, but this could be a good time to really connect with some more feminine figures or energies in your life. So that could be literally females or a more feminine male, and to really connect with them, connect with the more sensitive people in your life that have that more feminine energy, and allow a certain escape from the pressures of maybe being confined in the home. Perhaps, you can put your mask on, you can go to a park, or even if you have to go shopping somewhere, go to the grocery store, maybe you can do it with somebody, one of your other closer friends together. I know that you're not supposed to shop in groups, but if you're shopping for two separate homes, it could be conducive to be able to go with somebody, and to have someone that has your back, in case you get jumped for toilet paper in the grocery store. You never know, I guess, because it's getting a little crazy sometimes. But having somebody that has your back, I feel like could be helpful. It's just important to be around good, supportive, feminine energies that are going to be nurturing for you at this time, so that you really can escape these confines of your home, and be able to get into some other good energy for yourself. Now, again, I also think that traveling, especially with that stork, depending on the other cards, it really can influence astral travel that's done in the mind, meditation. I feel like that can be very beneficial for Pisces as well, since they're kind of already tuned into those realms naturally. So I think that could be something that serves them to look into and explore if they want to, if they really are limited and stuck in the house, which again, a lot of us are, and I am not telling anybody I'm not advising them to leave the house, but you make your own choices and you go from there and what you want to do. But I think that right now for Pisces, they do need that nurturing feminine energy, and they do need some kind of escape from reality. So whatever way you can do that in a healthy way, be able to facilitate that for yourself here. Being around that feminine energy naturally is going to create movement anyways. So that could be the one thing that you do need. Okay, everybody. So I am working on my laptop here. That was our Zodiac sign week ahead, doing the tarot What I'm going to have to do is disconnect my mic for a second, okay? So bear with me. Let me try and do that here, and you'll hear me in just a sec. Okay, you should hear me now. The mic is a little bit different. So I'm working with some limited resources here. And since I said I was going to give everybody readings, I usually stop at like the hour and 15 mark, because that's when my MacBook dies and I'm going to only have a certain amount of things plugged in here at once. But since I said that I would be giving readings here, I'm plugging it in. The microphone's a little bit different, so bear with me if you hear other noises. But I wanted to be able to get to your questions. So who all is here and alive, and who is looking for a reading and for me to connect with them? If you are in the chat, you can just put your little hand up. You can put your name and your question again, or I see a couple in there. I have Christina and Selena and Weasel. If you all are still here, I will connect with you three and be able to connect with your questions, connect with your energy here, and provide you with some answers in our reading. So just let me know if you are still here. Aha, I've got you, Catherine. All right, Christina, you're still here. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to connect here with you first, as you came into the chat first. So let's see, Christina, 9/22, September 22nd. So that is, you're close to the cusp, aren't you? That's Virgo Libra energy. I can't remember if Libra starts on the 22nd or 24th. It's one of those, I know, but I don't remember which one it is. Either way, I think it's close to Libra, because I do feel quite a Libran energy here in connection with you. So what I'm going to do here, Christina, I believe you asked a question. Oh, my chat just popped up. So question is, will my boyfriend and I start our family this year? Aw. What a beautiful question. Well, considering the fact that everybody's stuck at home, might be the good time to get a little bit frisky, eh? So let me connect here with the energy, Christina. I'm going to tap into you and what I feel in your relationship, and ask Spirit here, what is in turn for your bonds, but your family. What is the energy of your family going to be? All right, so let me tap in and look at just what is coming up for your family. Looking at Christina's energy, Christina's relationship with boyfriend. Okay, let me pull the boyfriend's energy in. Okay. And then let's see what's coming up for Christina's family. Are you going to be able to start your family this year? What is happening? Okay, Christina. So right away, I do feel that there is this sense of there feels like a pressure of waiting. Perhaps you may have been trying to increase your family, get pregnant for a while now, and it feels like when I'm tapped into this energy, it feels like it's supposed to happen, right? Like I feel like it's been waiting. The both of you either want it or you're that it's coming, because it feels like there's this inner knowing of just knowing that it's going to happen. And I feel like it's right on that precipice, but I do keep being shown the home and the house and giving a sense of expansion. So I do feel that it is very likely that you are going to be able to start your family this year. I feel a beautiful bond between you and your partner here. It feels like, I feel from your boyfriend this really, I don't know, there's such a beautiful blend of energy with the boyfriend, because I can feel him with this like childlike excitement and behavior and this love that he has and this innocence. But sometimes, and I feel like this is more geared towards work, there's an instant flip of a switch, but it's like instant work and business. And I think the point, what I'm being shown here, is that there's good discernment in your boyfriend, in your partner. There's a good sense of, I know where I need to put my energy, I know where I need to invest things. Sometimes there, could be some sense of immaturity when it comes to that childlike excitement that I feel like he does get. But it also feels that I feel confident in him knowing what he's doing, and in turn, the union between the two of you, I really feel that there is a good balance. I feel a great sense of support, and I feel a sort of excitement and exploration of life together. It's like the two of you have conquered, it's like you conquered love early, right? If that makes sense. And then you now get to explore all these different aspects of life together while having that support, while having this system. So I do feel like that's going to be a good, advantageous thing for creating your family together. Being able to work as a team, it's not going to be one parent against the other or anything like that. Like, I feel like it's going to be you two really genuinely coming together and working together and being able to sustain that. I feel like that's a huge thing today. We see lots of separations and parents doing different things with their children, and each parent acting differently and not a sense of continuation. But I feel like that's a healthy thing as far as family is involved. Let's see. Haven't started practicing yet, but know what you mean. Looking for a new home. He's my first love. Yes, right now he's all about business. All right, interesting. Good confirmation and validations here. Oh, interesting. If you're looking for a new home, that's kind of interesting that I keep being shown that expanded home. That to me even says gives another validation, like there is going to be a bigger home, but perhaps now it's exactly for a reason. Oh, we've got something growing here, so now we definitely have to get a bigger space or a bigger home. So that could be a double meaning there as to the reason why I was shown that expanded home, which I do feel like. Why I feel the growing family, though, is quite literally I keep being shown this sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, to be quite honest, it is a little vulgar. I'm sorry if it makes anybody uncomfortable, but I do keep being shown like something penetrating in, something kind of being intercepted inside. So that does show me, that there is the movement of pregnant or life-giving behaviors, right? I'm not seeing like all those details. Like, it's not pornographic happening in my mind, but I'm literally shown the concept, of something being intercepted inside. It looks like angles almost. So I do feel that this really is likely to happen. Any time frame on when I find out I get pregnant and this new home. So I'm not actually going to, let me just phrase something important here. I am not a medical practitioner, and a lot of psychics actually don't even answer questions about pregnancy. What I've found really interesting about pregnancy and working in the psychic realm is that children, especially children that are unborn, are often protected. It's like they're protected from being manipulated or influenced by outside sources or other people's energies, other than, their mother or their families that are around them. And I feel it's just because children, they really are innocent. They don't really, there's not much that they can do for themselves. And so the energy that they are subjected to, they are absorbing. So I always found that when I communicate with spirit and ask them about information about pregnancies and children, especially if the children are not born yet, they often, kind of stop me, or they don't give me information. They're like, no, that's not your business, and we can't tell you anyways, even if we wanted to. But let me just ask, and see, you know, what I'm getting as far as any time frame for these new transitions, and especially this home that's coming up. My first instinct here, I just keep being shown to look to the end of August. I keep being shown to look at the end of August for all of this coming up. I feel when I'm tapped into August, and what I'm specifically being shown is I'm being shown a very sensitive stomach. I can even feel like this is so weird, but I feel like there's a lot of empty space in my stomach. Like it feels like there's some kind of created space. And I imagine that this is probably what being pregnant would feel like, because it makes me just feel hungry, right? I just kind of feel hungry. Like I need to just keep filling that empty space. So they do keep showing me towards the end of August. But I feel like in September is when you're going to be able to see some kind of movement, because then I keep being shown these bricks, which to me shows the foundation of the home. So I feel like because they're showing me the foundation, it shows me that there is a new space or new energy to be had. So I think you're looking at fall within this year, depending on where you are in the world. Fall for us in the United States is, of course, September, October months. Whereas, you know, Australia and the southern hemisphere of the world is a little bit different. Okay, so good luck, Christina. Enjoy. Take that time for yourself while whatever's happening, however you're being affected by this pandemic, and get some extra snuggles with your boyfriend here. You know, I do feel it's going to be a good a good time to deepen those connections, but it does seem like this is the year to really create movement in your family. And good luck, Christina. Thank you for your question. Thank you for being here. Definitely excited that you get to engage in this process. It really feels like you just have a really good connections around you. All right, so let's go next. Selena, are you still here, Selena? You're in Texas. Hey, I'm in Texas too. I love my Texas people. You're very welcome, Selena. You're very, very welcome. Or I'm sorry, Christina, Selena. I'm mixing everybody up. Selena, I'm looking for Selena. Is she still here? Are you still here, Selena? And who else? Weasel, are you still here as well? Let me know if you're here. Hi, Selena. All right, so you had typed date of birth is October 2nd. All right, my Libra. Will my boyfriend ask me to marry him this year? All right, let's tap in and see what we got going on. So I'm going to tap. Actually, if you could, Selena, give me the first name and date of birth of your boyfriend. Since you are asking a specific question about him, I want to be able to specifically tap into his energy. So if you could just give me his first name and date of birth, so that way I can just tap directly into him and kind of see what's coming up between the two of you. It really just offers me the best form of connection when I do this, because when I receive the date of birth, it allows me like a sort of direct channel right into them. Oftentimes when I connect with people, there are other people's energies, you know, attached to us all the time. And so I often have to sift through, you know, what I'm feeling from that person, what I'm feeling from their emotions, their minds. Then I'm also having to sift through what's being impressed on them, what are they being forced to feel by other people, who are they hanging on to or attached to. So being able to connect with them, and by using this information, thank you, Selena, it allows me just a more direct channel into them, so that we can just get you the information you're looking for. So Ivan, May 4th, so Taurus. We've got a Taurus Libra connection between Ivan and Selena. Now, Taurus and Libra do share a planet in the zodiac, which is Venus. Venus is split in two by two different signs. Also, Mercury is as well. Mercury is shared by Virgo and Gemini. So there always is some kind of complementary nature to signs, you know, when they do have a planet in similar. So I do feel that sort of natural harmony between yourself and Ivan already. So let's look at Ivan, the Taurus, and see what he's got in store for your relationship. Is he going to ask you to marry him? Let's look at Ivan's energy first. What's going on in his energy and mind? And where is he in his own self? Okay, so right away, I do feel like there has been... I keep being shown that there have been very clear signs that Ivan has been receiving about his next steps. But what's really interesting is I do keep being shown this secretive energy. It feels like there's secretive communication, or it could even be communication that just seems very elusive, right? Like he could be saying things specifically to lead you on to certain thoughts, ideas, or senses, and it reminds me of a very playful energy. Like, for example, maybe he like gets down on one knee, and he's like, "Hey, I gotta ask you something. Will you just wait here real quick while I tie my shoe?" Like, it reminds me of this kind of vibration, this kind of energy where it's playful, but almost purposefully secretive, almost like he's trying to make it a point that he's sort of doing something behind the scenes. I do feel like there is something sort of being planned. Let me tap in, and because I'm tapping just into his energy, let me ask specifically if he is going to ask you to marry him. Is there going to be engagement between the two of you this year? Let's look into that. That way I look at both of your energies and not just his, because I know that he's trying to hold some stuff back. Engagement between Selena and Ivan. Let's see here. Okay, so what I am shown is that in the energy of your relationship, when I specifically ask about engagement, Spirit keeps showing me that there is an opening of new harmonies, that there's a new layer of the relationship that's going to be discovered. I do feel, and because of the way that I'm shown this, I'm shown this opening through the symbolism and metaphor of like an opening plant, which already a flower, it is specifically a flower. I see it starting green and then opening and turning into these beautiful radiant colors, your pinks and your reds and your blues, oranges, greens, violets, and because I'm shown in this way, I am shown that there is a conglomeration of harmony. So it means that there's more than one person involved in this harmony, and the new layer, that new flower opening up, meaning a new level in the bond or the relationship. And because I am shown specifically the flowers as well within my mind and how they are colored, it does show me that there is a sense of harmony or balance. So I feel like this is just something that it was just naturally supposed to happen. It feels very natural in your relationship and your connection together. Let's see. I overheard him talking about rings. Oh my goodness, how perfect is that? I feel like he's doing this kind of on purpose, like really dropping all of these hints, but to like keep you on your toes almost. It just feels really sweet, honestly. It feels very, very cute in the way that he's doing it. It feels very playful. It has a great vibe to it. And I do feel when I ask about the engagements, I am shown that new layer and level of connection opening up in the relationship. So I do feel like this is something that is likely to happen between the two of you. And I think, just let him do his thing. There doesn't need to be any pressure. Really keep that same kind of fun, cute energy up. I feel like that's something that really vibes well between the both of you, where you can both, I think, get into a more serious mode and more emotional, but I think you can also enjoy that laughter and the funness together. And why I like this and why I'm even bringing this up, because, that seems normal for every relationship, right? But why I'm bringing this up is it feels like the two of you really have in sync moods, moods that come around the same time around one another. And that it just feels like a beautiful synchronization between the both of you, and why this feels like such a natural fit in your relationship and in your connection. So naturally, I feel like, engagement, marriage really is just the natural next step between the both of you, and does look like something that is in your future together. So you've been together for a while and love each other deeply. That's beautiful to hear. That is absolutely beautiful. Let's see. I'll ask a timing as far as when I see this coming up, and let's see kind of just a general time frame where this happens. Okay, so I keep being shown a few different things. Let me try and pinpoint something a little more clearly. All right, so I do keep feeling like it's around the summer months. Specifically, I keep seeing your boyfriend's energy, because they keep showing me strong male presence, like within June. But where I really see the coagulation of everything kind of coming together, I see the brightness, the positivity, I see the vibrance in both of your energies. I see that, flourishing, as I had mentioned before. This really feels like July. It feels like a really nice summer moment. It feels like there's a lot of just good energy around you, beautiful weather. I don't know why, it just has this sort of very bright imagery to it, and I keep feeling that summer energy. So again, for wherever you are in the world, if you're in the United States or Northern Hemisphere, that's going to be your June, July time frame for summer, which I feel like it's more towards the end of June, beginning of July is when this is likely to happen. But I keep being shown the strong energy of everything coming together in July. So perhaps he's probably thinking about it in June and like waiting for that right moment and thinking he's going to do it, but maybe chickens out and waits and doesn't do it quite yet. And then probably in July is when you would likely to see that. Soon, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just a few months away, but if you've been together for a while, you have a deep love for each other, shoot, tomorrow would probably make sense just as much, right? Well, good luck. Good luck, Selena. I think this is definitely the next step for you as well in your relationship. And it seems like these two readings just so far both have a beautiful energy of symbiotic vibration, symbiotic energy in the connection. So like attracts like, and people that have similar vibrations kind of flow together. So I think that's pretty cool. Enjoy, Selena. This is definitely a time to have fun as well. Really, my personal advice, or for whatever is happening, or for however you want to receive this, of course, make sure you look good. You want those engagement photos to look great. You want all the right spotlight moments, to remember this time by. So make sure you're looking good, feeling good, taking care of whatever you need to, because I feel like this is just going to be an important moment that you both are going to want to remember moving forward. Naturally, I think any marriage or engagement of this nature would facilitate that, but I feel that for whatever reason, there's a sense of you. I feel your energy, Selena, I feel you always wanting to put your best energy out there. And so I feel like this would be something that you would definitely share with other people, the news, the information, or the pictures and things like that. And so I don't know why it just feels important for you to consider this. Just make sure that you're putting your own energy in the best space. Oh, probably because of what I had picked up on today about Libras, making sure to dig in and make sure there's not any emotional baggage or things that you need to clear out. Definitely dig deep into those informations. Yeah, I do have a Facebook page if you want to go to that. So it's Brandon Hauser CCHt. So if you search in Brandon Hauser or CCHt, you'll be able to go to that, or I can probably just put the link in the chat, or it's probably connected to my YouTube in some way as well. But yeah, it's Brandon Hauser CCHt, and you can find me there, or just look up the Dream Teacher on Facebook as well, and you can get connected there. I also do Twitter. I love Twitter. It's BH Dream Teacher, and then I have Instagram as well, which is the Dream Teacher. So pretty much the Dream Teacher anywhere you want to look it up. That's the name I've been going by for a long time. So you can find me definitely on Facebook. And again, all those links should probably be on my website. But if not, just look up Brandon Hauser CCHt, which stands for Certified Clinical Hypnotherapist. Thank you, Selena, and you're very welcome. Very glad that you are here to join us, and thank you for your question. Good luck. I think you're going to have just a beautiful summer. Beautiful, beautiful summer this year. All right. Well, I haven't heard from Weasel, so our Catherine. Let's see. Angie, can I please get your insight into my next job? Thank you. All right, Angie, I'm going to answer your question here, and then Catherine, I will answer yours, and Catherine will be the last one. All right, so Angie, if you're still here, let me know, so that way I can answer your questions here. Like my little water bottle. It's the Dream Teacher. I had this made for me. My brother made this, and I absolutely love it. Putting that sacred geometry on there, transforming water. I absolutely love it. So let's see. Oh, yay, Angie's still here. Okay, Angie, so let me do your question real quick. And then Kathy, if you want to type in your questions as well. Angie, if you could remind me of your date of birth again. I feel like you're a Leo. I feel like that's what I remember. If you could just remind me real quick, so that way I just have a more direct channel of tapping into your energy. And you want to ask what is going on work-wise, right? Get insight into my next job. Thank you. So yeah, just remind me of your date of birth, Angie, or Ange. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. July 23rd. Oh yes, okay, so Leo. Okay. All right, Ange, so let me look into your energy and see what is going on with work. What is wait, let me see how you phrased it again. Can I please get insight into my next job? Thank you. So what is the energy of your next job? That's what I'm going to tap into, Angie. What is the energy of your next job? Okay, let me connect here with you. Let me pull you in. And let's specifically look at work flow coming in. What is the energy of Angie's next job? Okay. So the first thing that I see here is that there is a lot of self-initiated movement. I do feel like you are going to have to be a sort of self-starter. And I do keep being shown the realm of homes. Specifically, I keep feeling that there's something about homes traveling or homes and moving. I'm just going to tell you everything that keeps popping into my head. So it feels like obviously there's like real estate, right? Like selling houses, helping people sell houses. I also keep being shown something about maybe house sharing or traveling. That could be something like Airbnb or working, helping facilitate people moving around. I just keep feeling the home, the vibration of home. And I keep feeling quite a strong passion that gets involved with this. So the energy I see is self-starting. The energy I see is home or foundation. I keep seeing a sense of traveling or movement and quite a deep amount of passion that gets involved. So for me, when I'm connected with this, I do feel like there is something that has to do with maybe self-work, work that is initiated by the self again, because your energy will have to be very self-sustaining or self-initiating, self-starting. And quite literally, it could be something that is even started out of the home. It could be something that you literally start from your home. I don't know your current circumstances and what's going on with you. Amidst all the pandemic, if you are kind of forced at home, like many of us are, but this really is a perfect time to be able to start doing something from home. When I'm connected with you, Angie, I keep getting this feeling of you really ready to sink your teeth into something, really ready to invest into some good work or good movement forward. Like it feels like you're antsy. It feels like you just really want to invest into something. Like I can really feel it. And the fact that I do keep feeling your heart, your energy, your passion being connected and invested with all of this, it does make me feel like this is some kind of passion project that turns into forward movement. I also feel like because I'm seeing the home and because I feel like it is something that may start at the home, this could be, something of like, yes, exactly, starting your own business. There you go. You perfectly said it. Which shows me that your intuition is on as well, that you're kind of connected and tapped into the same energy that I'm connecting to as well. So I think definitely looking into starting your own stuff would be really important. And look at, of course, start simple. Start with your passion. What is within your heart? What fuels your heart? So for example, for me, right? When somebody asks me what fuels my heart, I tell them immediately, it's connection. It's when people come together and create a sense of connection. I don't care in what realm it happens. When people come together, it just fuels my heart. It makes me so happy. It elates me. And so now look at the work that I do. I'm in the work of creating connections with other people, right? Or helping people with their own personal connections in their own life. So start with the passion. Start with just objectively, don't even think about finance work or money coming in. What fuels your heart? And then branch off from there. I really feel, let me see if I can just tap into what the nature of this work is going to be. What is that nature of the work that's within the heart? What is in Angie's heart here? It feels like, okay, this is an interesting energy here. Angie, do you have your own psychic abilities that you've been able to tap into? Because I keep being shown that there's something in your heart about giving messages that opens up other people. That's what I keep seeing. Maybe that's something for you to explore, right? I think that could be something that you can explore here for your own self. And, perhaps you don't need to put all your information out as far as what really fuels you, what makes you feel passionate, and what you want to start. But I definitely do feel like starting your own business could be good. And I do keep feeling like all of this does come from a passionate place. Passion, emotion, feeling, those are going to be key factors for you in determining what you are going to do and what kind of business that you can start. This isn't about analyzation, or I wouldn't even rely on logic yet right now. Not yet. Logic comes in when you already have the creative part out of the way, if that makes sense. That comes in to help construct and give organization to the more creative aspect. So right now, this all has to come from heart. Definitely spiritual and love to help people with my advice and life experience. Look at that, Angie. Perfect. I love that. I feel like I could see you doing this. Even though I feel there's a beautiful mix and blend in your energy of being boisterous and reserved. Like I feel your energy just being very calm. It's like you're that line right in the middle. But what I keep seeing is if you are giving advice, information out to other people, I keep seeing you just getting, you feeling the emotional effects and implications of whomever you're connecting with. Like I see you getting excited when you're reading for somebody that, you know, you just see them having a breakthrough and a moment of transformation, and you're like, oh my gosh, and so your voice gets loud and you yell and you get excited for them and they get loud too. And then I see you having an equal amount of like deep sense of warmth and compassion and this embrace and nurturing love for people that might be going through a more difficult time. And I see you really being able to match other people's energy well. So again, keep looking to the heart for what does feel most passionate, but it does seem like there is something about your work that you're going to be given. You're giving messages that create openness and new opportunity for other people in their own lives. And perhaps, you know, I think you could also do that for your own self. You know, any advisor that's out there, they should be taking and heeding their own advice first and foremost, and then, you know, able to give that energy and that same sense of expression out to other people. That's the mark, I feel, of a good advisor, is the one that can take and heed their own advice. So it looks like there is definitely a movement of self-starting happening here for you, Angie. And I very much support that in line with your energy and what I feel from you. It feels like a good thing to do, to be able to give of yourself in this way. Because I feel like, one, you'd be really good at it, but I feel like, two, you just have the natural emotional capacity, the emotional space, and the emotional intelligence to be able to properly communicate messages in this way. So I really feel that that would be a good thing for you to do. But again, just focus on those main energies and messages that came through. Self-initiation, home and foundation is, you know, the beginning place to focus. Movement, quite literally movement into heart space, which is passion, you know, love, something that you do love doing or something that you do value doing, and then being able to give messages that open and create space. So think about those things in connection together. Obviously, you know, it might seem obvious and a little biased that we can see you being an advisor just because you and I seem to be familiar with what that looks like, right? But it could be it could be other things as well. It could be things that I have not even thought of. Let's see, how do you give messages that create space in people? You know, those could be even your counselors and your therapists. That does count for a lot of school, but there could be things coming up and opportunities coming up that people, you know, might need now as far as talking about trauma, you know, as far as the whole pandemic is concerned, and might need somebody to talk to. We don't know. All right, Angie, well, good luck. If you have specific questions about these things, you, of course, can come in here and ask your questions. We'll do probably like one question per person per each show. I do kind of like that format, so that way we can get to everybody in time. And Catherine, if you're still here, I will answer your question next. If you are still here. Let's connect my microphone again, folks. Let me try and do that here because I've got a little bit more power on my MacBook. Let's see if we can do that. So that way we don't hear all this laptop noise. All right. I feel like that's a little bit better here. If you are still there, Catherine. Oh, there she is. Okay. Let's see. So helpful. So you don't see any jobs for a company. Let me see if I pick up on any specific company's energy here. I don't. The only thing I keep being shown is when I'm asking about a company, is I just keep being shown this strong, they just keep being shown female. I just keep seeing female energy. So it gives me the impression that it either literally comes from you still, or or there could be a female that is directly connected to that company, you know, that's going to either be heading the company, CEO, somebody that's, you know, in a big position that can make those decisions in that company, a more feminine energy. But I just keep being shown female energy just standing very clear and strong within her own self. So I feel like, to me, my first impression and instinct is that this is just you and your energy, and that it just clearly depends on you. But again, it could be the possibility of working with another female. So if you do see a job that has a female CEO, or is, you know, a female, feminine, woman-owned, run something, that could be a good in for you as well. But I think the importance is really stepping into the stronger female energy, stronger female role. But nothing I'm being shown as far as any specific company. Again, this is a lot of the energy is self-initiated and self-started. So I feel like just vibing with that for now, and putting yourself out there, you know, still create your opportunities. It's definitely a more difficult path, I think, to be self-employed or to be even an advisor to get started in that capacity. But I would look to strong energy females to connect with right now. And if you see a company that has a female CEO, that's the one I would definitely tell you to explore for sure, because it does look like you have to be around that energy. You're very welcome, Angie. You're very, very welcome. Thank you for your question. Thank you for being here. For those of you listening in, please be sure to subscribe. You can stay up to date on the shows that I do. I do a show once a week, but I do more shows sporadically. I just kind of pick, and sometimes I'll just randomly go live, and I'll give readings through that way. And there's going to be other fun shows to be had as well. So be sure to subscribe so that you stay up to date on, you know, when I'm going to be live, when I'm going to be available, and what's happening. If you do want to reach me, there is my website link on the show page. But in case you can't see it, it's thedreamteacher.com. There you can contact me. That is the best way to contact me, is through that email on my contact page. It goes directly to me. It doesn't go through any other sources. It goes directly to me, and that's how you can get in touch with me. You can also book appointments with me. Just click on the appointments tab. You can select which length of time you would like to have an appointment, an advising session with me, and then pick your date and time and book it for your own self at your own convenience whenever you would like to. I do have downloads as well that you can download, a hypnotherapy track, which I really, really love. It is my baby. It took me some amazing channeled energy to create, so you can go ahead and download that if you wanted to experience what it feels like to be hypnotized. You can do that all from the comfort of your own home. Thedreamteacher.com is the best way to stay in touch and get in contact with me. I do have Facebook, I do have Instagram, I do have Twitter. You can follow me on those areas as well. And of course, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube. All right, Catherine. So this is going to be our last one here. Wondering about life, love, or general messages that come through. Okay, Catherine. Hang on a second here. Gotta situate this chair because it kind of sinks every once in a while. I definitely gotta get a new office chair. So let's tap into your energy, Catherine. And let's see just what comes through when I connect here with you. Okay. What's going on with Catherine's energy? And I do know that you are an Aquarius, so for those of you wondering why I'm not asking for her birthday, I do know that she is Aquarius. Let's look at what's coming through for Catherine. It's interesting because right away, as soon as I connect with your energy, I'm being brought to so many different realms. Like I feel like I'm kind of bouncing around, but what I really keep feeling right now, what kind of comes through first, is just I keep feeling male energy, and I keep being shown a surface level moment. So it looks like there's going to be some interaction with a male that is a sort of at a surface level arena. So nothing that's going to be crazy deep, nothing that feels like it just feels like it's, I don't know, almost a sense of simplicity on purpose, if that makes sense. It's like this male is keeping things simple on purpose, and I keep feeling that there is friction as a result of that. I keep feeling like there's going to be either animosity, disagreements, or even quite literally some kind of fight that happens. Now, the good thing about this is that it does feel like it is on the surface level, so I don't feel like whatever quarrel may happen or disagreement or argument that may happen, it doesn't feel like it's going to really cut deep or anything, and it does feel a little bit trivial. So perhaps this could be just minor annoyances. Nothing that really feels like it cuts deep, but I do feel like let me see kind of what comes out of this, and or what it's going to generate, why this is going to happen. Okay, so I feel like this is honestly, this is a space and time for you. I keep being shown to learn discernment. I keep being shown this is a time for you to learn discernment on how much to invest your energy into someone. So because the male is keeping things at a surface level, love life, you meant. Oh, okay. Well, perfect, because I feel like this is exactly what I'm talking about here. Is what's happening in the arena of love life. I think you know exactly the person's energy that I'm speaking of, this male energy. And it's almost like this is part of a lesson for you in learning discernment and learning how and when to hold your own energy back and how to create a sense of transformation, because I do feel like it's on your responsibility, your shoulders, to be able to create transformation in this connection by learning how to meet the other person where they're at. I feel like with you, there's a natural tendency to be able to create a transition in other people, create movement, but it feels like sometimes I feel like with your energy, you just have a sense of knowing what can cut them deeply, if that makes sense. And what I feel you're learning right now in the midst of all of this with this man is meeting them at their level and being able to interact, whether it's positive or negative, words, affirmations, conversations, what have you, interactions. It's still at that same similar level. So really what I keep being shown is that you're learning how to match that level that the other person is invested into as well. I wouldn't withhold anything right now, honestly. I'd really just allow things to kind of flow as they need to, wherever that level is, wherever you feel like you've met that person on that level. Okay, here we are, you're holding me on the surface level. It's causing some friction. He may even very well be causing friction for you. And you just allow that same friction to come out on your own. Don't go too deep, don't go deeper than he is. I would not cut as deep, but definitely allow a free flow to happen, so that you do understand that there is either a transition that needs to happen. Well, it feels like a transition needs to happen between you and this person no matter what. But I feel like what still needs to be understood is if this connection needs to go through a death, or are both participants going to actively engage in the transformation? And I feel like that's what you're still uncertain about, is that you don't know if both people are going to engage in that process of transformation. Ultimately, I think you and I have talked about this before, which is I feel that you're going to be forced to try and bury this connection several times, many times. But as far as where it needs to go or what it needs to do, I don't feel that there's too much that you need to influence other than just waiting and responding and matching level and matching energy. Tired of learning, but I understand. Yeah, I know. I definitely feel you there. It's definitely frustrating to like wait for somebody so long and, not understand what in the heck they're doing, why they're making the decisions they are. It's like that, come on, get off the pot kind of thing. Let's move forward with something, or let's create a definition somewhere, or whatever it is. But it does feel like there is some uncomfortable moments to be had with this male, and I just feel like you really have to be that one that provides a sense of transforming or transcending the issues or the problems. Of course, spiritual readings and tarot with Catherine. And knowing you, I know that you do offer spiritual information and energy and connection with other people. And so it's not far-fetched, for me to see that you're the one that's creating the shift, the movement, the transition. I feel like that's definitely normal within your own realm and wheelhouse and abilities and skills and connections and things to do. But it feels like it takes on a more serious undertone at this time. That's what I keep feeling is happening. Like it's getting to a point where it's more serious and it's affecting you in a deeper way. Whereas I feel the male that we're speaking of, he's still holding it on the surface level. So it's like you're down here, he's up here, and you're trying to get him to realize the depth of things down here, but he's still holding you up here and he's trying to get you up here. So I keep being shown to meet him up here, and that's where you make the choice of, okay, are we going to transition, or am I just going to not even be here anymore and leave him, on his own at his own surface level? Definitely, I think a decision you'll have to make, but one I feel should be based on the interactions that are had. All right, Catherine. Well, good luck with that moment. I know that it's a difficult situation for you. I know that there are levels of engagements that you have with this person, and that there's a healthy connect and disconnect that you have going on here. But ultimately, I feel like this is an important connection for you that does serve a higher purpose than just interpersonal relationship. And you and I know have talked about this before as well, because it does feel like it serves something higher than self. More specifically, I feel to him, but it does serve you something as well. I think, okay, I just keep getting this message and information that this connection is helping you to realize your own importance. Yeah, that's the one thing. It's helping you to realize your own importance, and how you already are this kind of predominant figure for a lot of people. I don't know why I feel like that's something important to remember, but they just keep being flashed in it now because I keep seeing you. I see you like getting ready and you presenting yourself, and I just see these people that see you so deeply and see you as such a beautiful, almost angelic messenger, somebody that's come in and almost quite literally saved their life. And I feel like in the moments where you're connecting specifically with this male or energies like this male, you may lose sight of that vision, which of course is humbling. We shouldn't ever hold ourselves with ego over, what we do or how other people see us. But I do feel like it gets forgotten when you are in these other situations. As far as relationships or men in particular, it feels like it's important to remember, okay, I am still this beacon for other people. And if somebody doesn't see me as the light that I am, or that I feel that I am, then I do not need to keep lowering my vibration to try and get them to see me as that way. I don't know why I feel like that's important. Do you see him reaching that level? That's such a good question. Do I see him actually reaching that level? Let me look. I know I've connected with this before, but let me just see when I tap in again. Okay, so I still keep being shown that there's a breakdown that needs to happen. I don't feel like he can reach that plateau until he has this sense of a breakdown. And specifically, I keep seeing personal breakdown and breakdown in bond. So of course, I think you know exactly what I mean when I say that, and what bond has to kind of break or disintegrate. But there is a certain part of himself that has to break down or go through that process as well. So once that happens, then I can see him reaching that level. But right now, it just does seem to be resting at that surface level. So you use your discretion, how much you want to wait, right? And how much you want to invest. But I do see that it is possible. It's just dependent on him. But I think what's more important right now is to remember your own energy, your own power, your own beauty that you have, and that you don't have to lower your energy to allow other people to connect with you, or to have them see you and see your light in the way that others do. All right, Kathy. Well, thank you for your question. Thank you for being here. I very much appreciate you being here. Everybody that's been tuned in, thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for coming and watching and viewing. I'm going to be here at least every week, but I do some surprise shows and things that I just didn't really plan on scheduling. I just felt the inspired movement or guided to do it in some way. So please subscribe so that way you can be alerted as to when I am coming on and what's going on. When you subscribe, you'll get the alerts. You can just click the little bell and you'll be alerted of when I do my next shows. Again, you can find me on my website, thedreamteacher.com. You can book private sessions with me if you did not want to have a session in public, online, for everybody to see and all your business to be talked about. And you just feel like you want something a little bit more private, you can book a private session with me. Just go to my website, thedreamteacher.com, click on appointments, and you'll be able to schedule your appointment there. If you have any questions, any points of contact, anything you want to contact me for, if you want to, perhaps you want to book me once all this pandemic stuff is over, you want me to come and speak somewhere, or to present or to connect with people in a psychic capacity, of course you can do that. Just send me an email, ask me the questions, ask me the opportunity of what you want me to be involved in. If there's somewhere you want me to speak at, I love speaking. Being a psychic, being a spiritual person, spiritually oriented, being a clinical hypnotherapist, there are a lot of things that I can do and speak on as far as helping people with productivity, helping to understand themselves deeper, a lot of teachings, a lot of mind and focus and positivity, good energy, understanding, things of that nature. I would absolutely be interested. So if you have any of those kind of ideas, questions, concerns, shoot me an email. Just go to my contact me page on my website there, and I will be able to get in touch with you and figure out if that's a good fit for everybody. Anything else? Feel free to shoot me an email. I do have free consultations as well that people can set up. If they're not sure what they need or what they need to do, they can just contact me and we can talk about what we can do. It'll give you about 10 minutes to talk with me, and we can have a session where we figure out exactly what you need and what you're going through. Other than that, yes, please subscribe. Weasel, I'm so sorry. I got to get out of here. Come in next time. I'm going to do a show probably on Friday or Saturday. So come in next time because I got to sign off. My banner's at 3%. So come in next time, and if you come to the next show, you'll be the first on the list. How about that? So be sure to come into the next show, and you'll absolutely be first on this list. All right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you next time. Take care and be well.